Okay everybody, we are back, and it is of course the release weekend of Fantastic Four First Steps. And chances are that you've seen the film or you're interested in the context of what I'm talking about due to the title of the video. So, I'm gonna assume you've seen the film. You maybe have seen my review and or me explaining what happens during that crucial mid/post-credit scene. So in this video, we're gonna go over some brand new evidence that Robert Downey Jr. is not actually playing Victor Von Doom. Instead, this is a fake out. The evidence comes at us from two posts from Robert Downey Jr. that directly correlate the comics. So this is gonna be a long form video, so strap yourself in, get some popcorn, do whatever you will, because we're about to get into some hardcore nerdy stuff. So for the first part of this video, we need to go over the basics, and the basics are what we know after the release of Fantastic Four First Steps, how they set up Victor Von Doom in that, and of course, the mid-credit/post-credit scene. So during the events of Fantastic Four First Steps, we see that Reed Richards has more or less done everything that Tony Stark ever wanted to do. He put a suit of armor around the planet, he's been able to keep track of everything. He's got all sorts of technology that's helping the planet, and the Fantastic Four are the big heroes of this world. We also learn that Sue Storm is literally a major member of the UN. She gives presentations, she calls a lot of the shots, and during the film, we even see that there is a chair missing during the giant crisis that is the arrival of Galactus. This is none other than the chair of Victor Von Doom, which of course, as you can see in the photo, is missing, and there, right there, is the Latvian flag, country of Latveria that he is the ruler of. Now, Victor Von Doom is never brought up by name in the film, just Latveria, but he does show up in the film during the mid/post-credit scene, and what we see is Sue Storm reading a book to Franklin, The Origin of Species. Hey, mutant, he's a member of that species and potentially a future X-Men. And well, what we see here is that she goes and picks up another book. When she comes back, it is Franklin face to face with Victor Von Doom. We don't see his face, but we see that the child is not concerned about Victor's face. Now, if you've seen his face in the comics, you know he's massively disfigured. And well, Franklin doesn't seem to care. Also, he doesn't seem bothered by him at all, because we can see that Doom is in fact holding his mask in his hand. So he is maskless. So this is the basics before we get to the complete breakdown of everything. So now we're going to get into the next chapter of this video, which of course is what was said about Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom from the day he was announced up until now. Okay, so it's time to get into what was said, and the timeline of events here is very interesting because there's a couple of things that we have to go through before we get into the new evidence provided by Robert Downey Jr. And the first thing that jumps straight to my mind is what the Russo brothers said last year. And that's when they were working on the film, when they were writing Doctor Doom. They said that the backstory of who this character is, who this Victor Von Doom is, was being handled by Robert Downey Jr. And that RDJ is in fact writing the history and who and what Doctor Doom does. So what they're saying here is that he's got the creative control. Robert Downey Jr. is defining who this character is, what he stands for, and what he's all about. Now, why this is all important is because if you guys remember, right after it was announced last year that RDJ was back, the Russo brothers said that when they came to him with the idea of playing Doctor Doom, RDJ wasn't even aware of who this character was. They had to pitch him the idea, and he wasn't really keen on it, but that the idea that they worked out was something that he was keen on, and that's the character he wanted to play. Again, this is key to everything I'm talking about in this video, which is why this video is longer, because this all correlates in the next few parts of how it all connects the big dots. Which also brings us to some other chatter that we've heard officially and sort of hinted at. So if you guys remember, when they were talking about using Victor Von Doom and using Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, they made some very interesting statements that I think are crystal clear as day the closer we get to the film and the more things we hear and or see. So they did state that this is the version of Doctor Doom that they are going with for this film and the MCU. Now again, we need to take note of how they never committed to this is the Doctor Doom. They said that this is their version of Doctor Doom. Again, we are in the multiverse saga. We are dealing with the fallout of Kang, the fragmentation of the entire sacred timeline, the multiverse, and other Doctor Dooms that already exist within the MCU, which of course are the other versions since everything is canon. We already saw Chris Evans return as the Human Torch from the duology of Fantastic Four films we got. So again, it's safe to assume those Doctor Dooms are all canon and exist as well. So if we just look at that, and some of the words that they used, the way that they described things, the way that Robert Downey Jr. said when him and his wife were talking, neither of them was sure about how can he return as Iron Man or even play Doctor Doom. But again, when they pitched him the idea, he said, oh, this all makes sense now. Again, I think the multiverse part of this clicks with everything we're going to talk about. So let's talk about what Robert Downey Jr. teased. So the first thing we need to talk about is, of course, what he said here. The first post he made after his return was, new mask, same task. Okay, can we talk about this for a second? It doesn't get mentioned enough. People just overlook it. New mask, as in he's no longer Iron Man, right? He's Doctor Doom. Same task. Okay, well, Doctor Doom and Iron Man do not have the same task. But, to a degree, now seeing Fantastic Four, don't they? And again, let's go back to the first part of the video talking about Fantastic Four. What did Sue and Reed accomplish? A suit of armor around the world. Protecting the planet, being sole protectors where any threat will be taken care of by a collective and the technology that they've built for this world. You know who failed at that? Tony Stark failed. He failed with Ultron. He failed by being an arms dealer who sold to the highest bidder. At the time, he was selling his weapons to the guys that were fighting the opposition while also fighting against the opposition and selling them weapons and vice versa. Again, he was an arms dealer. You know, people tend to forget this. He saw the error of his ways and he tried to fix it. But again, the way he went to try to, again, clear up everything and what he did with Ultron and creating Vision was to join the government and, well, try to control everybody by stating, hey, you got to get on this list. When you're on the list, we point you like a weapon instead of you doing what you want. That was why Civil War happened, right? So again, he failed multiple times because the second attempt with Civil War resulted in no teams being together and Thanos being able to just show up and wreck house. This is important. Tony realizes he failed. At the end, he of course defeats Thanos, but it cost him his life. Now, again, I am just going to assume, for the sake of this video and what I'm talking about, that this is all connected, right? In the multiverse. And what we're seeing is in the Fantastic Four world is technically Victor Von Doom. But he's not there, which is where we're going to get to in the last part of this video. Because, again, the wording there, new mask, same task, to me is very telling. Maybe that's just me, I'm not sure. But let's talk about the brand new evidence he just dropped over the last 2 days. So this comes at us in two forms. So the day that Fantastic Four First Steps releases, Robert Downey Jr. posts this. So it is an image of the West Coast Avengers, and it's titled The Voice of Doom. In this arc, there is a boy named Kristoff who is brainwashed into believing that he is in fact Doctor Doom. Now the story gets even more interesting because as part of this story, Doom managed to transfer his mind into another body to avoid death. Now you're all following along here, right? because it's pretty evident what he's teasing here and why this is crucial to this piece of the puzzle, and why I've been saying since he was cast as Doctor Doom, he is not the real Doctor Doom. They're not that stupid. But there's another piece of evidence that he just posted earlier today that's even more telling, in my opinion. So in a follow-up video, he posts this, which clearly has two comics very, very visible, right? They're right there up front. So what's important about these? Because, hey, the last one, mind transfer, avoiding death, okay. So how does this connect to it? Well, let me tell you. So you got a run there where Doctor Doom isn't actually Victor. Okay, that's a interesting one, right? And then you have a run where Iron Man gets literally trapped in hell by Mephisto. Now, Mephisto just debuted in the MCU, and they said he's going to have a big impact on the MCU going forward. So now you start to connect the dots, right? You guys see what I'm saying between everything? New mask, same task, and then somebody that's not Doctor Doom who transferred his mind, and then a comic where it's not even Doctor Doom who's Doctor Doom, and then Iron Man being trapped in hell. Again, I think I'm connecting all the dots for you guys. If I'm not, we're going to have to really dive into this because that's the last part of this video. So let's talk about who is the real Doctor Doom. And I got a theory here, so work with me here, okay? So the reason we do not see Doctor Doom in Fantastic Four First Steps is because Victor is dead. That Victor Von Doom, whoever he was, whatever he looked like, he is gone. That's why he doesn't show up at the council when the Earth is about to be destroyed. He is dead. Now I know what you're saying, but hold up. If he's dead, who's the guy at the end of the film? Who's that? Okay. Let me take you back to Fantastic Four First Steps. The egg experiment, right? Reed Richards used it to transfer an egg from one room to the other side of the room. And then they want to use the same thing to defeat Galactus, and they do. Now, we never get the history of who are some of their friends or his friends before they're the Fantastic Four. What if they do exactly that? Victor Von Doom, like in the comics, was friends with Sue and with Reed prior to the events of them getting their powers. He ended up becoming the ruler of Latveria, like we know, but they haven't seen him really since. Maybe he showed up at the council meetings, maybe he didn't, we don't know, but his chair is still there because he's the rightful ruler. But now, he's dead. So what happened? Well, Doom and Reed always had the same idea, the same level of knowledge and technology that they were trying to use and help. Doctor Doom fell out of his ways when he literally went to hell to fight the devil for his mom's soul. He got obsessed with saving her, and when he couldn't, it turned him evil. His face was mangled. He was literally warped by the experience. Magic couldn't save her. Tech couldn't save her. He became a ruthless ruler. Again, I'm saying he was working on the same type of tech. He ultimately was going to die, or did die, and in his last moments, he finds a way to transfer his consciousness, whether it's through teleportation of the mind or thoughts or into another vessel, and he transfers it into the body of a Tony Stark variant. Hence why he looks like Tony Stark, and technically is Tony Stark. Think of Superior Spider-Man. Think of what Doc Ock did to Peter. The same exact thing. He used his smarts to implant his brain patterns and thoughts directly into Peter to take over his life. I'm saying Doom did the exact same thing. And here's how I think it all plays out. Okay, so here's how I think this is going to go. So we are going to find out that he is from that world. That is Victor Von Doom from that world who's possessing the body and mind of Tony Stark. Now, whether or not he's from that world or somewhere in the multiverse that Doctor Doom was able to crack with maybe the help of Mephisto, or maybe just his smarts, or maybe he was able to follow Kang and figure it out and save himself like that. I'm not sure, but he's going to look like Iron Man, which to me is an important plot point. Because I think what's going to happen here is that Doctor Doom is going to be looking through the multiverse and realize that he's got a way that he can handle everything by hiding behind a familiar face. And the reason he picked Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man is because his ultimate goal is to invade and take over the sacred timeline and put himself on top of the throne of the sacred timeline when it's all restored. Because when they restore a timeline, and a singular one, it's the sacred, the original, that has to remain. He essentially will try to fool everybody into working for him. I think how this is going to play out is that at the end of Spider-Man Brand New Day, we are going to see Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom show up as a fake Iron Man to have Peter join him and convince him to be on his side. This is where things are going to get very interesting, as this is where mistrust, no trust at all, some trust is all going to come into play. And the master manipulator that Doctor Doom is, he will have orchestrated a perfect attack. Use Spider-Man to seed some doubt because he still sees Peter as young and naive and needing a mentor figure. And suddenly he goes, hey, kid, I'm back. Haven't you seen the multiverse? You met other Spider-Men. I am Tony Stark. And he can lie to him to manipulate him. At the same time, look at what else is going on. Multiple Avengers, extra incursions, universes are being destroyed. I am your savior. Join me. And then he's also convinced other worlds that are dying that he is the savior as a fake Iron Man. So he's gone over to the X-Men world and been like, guys, so an incursion is happening. Oh, it's because of Monica here? Guess what? They sent her here to start an incursion because they want to destroy you. X-Men, let's go attack their world. And he does this across the multiverse while assembling a team of heroes that he can trick and convince that it's the MCU's fault. And again, in the guise of, I am Tony Stark. But ultimately, it will fail in the MCU proper because they're not that stupid and they're going to see through his BS. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed this rather long video. I'm sorry it's at my point right now. It's like 20-ish minutes. I'm probably going to cut a little bit of this up, so it'll be 18 and a half maybe. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really sat down, wrote some notes, tried to get over all of this. I know it's a longer video, but I wanted to state what I think is going to be true. There is no way he is Doctor Doom the way we know him. Because the real Doctor Doom will be in the restored timeline with an unknown actor that will show up when Secret Wars is over, and they will keep that secret up until his face is revealed after the MCU reboot. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching and have a good one.